Estamos con el profesor Olexiy Haran de la Universidad de Kiev, Mogila, un catedrático ucraniano que lo entrevistaríamos normalmente por lo que significa académicamente, intelectualmente, pero esta vez está aquí en Argentina como parte de un recorrido por Sudamérica en su calidad de representante de la sociedad civil ucraniana. Professor Haran, what are you doing here in South America?
Buenos dias.
Good morning.
You have already said that we are a delegation of Ukrainian civil society, so we do not represent the government. Ukrainian civil society is very strong, so we may support the government. That's what we're doing during the war. We may also criticize the government if there are some wrongdoings. But what we are doing here, actually, we are trying to spread the word of truth about what's going on in Ukraine, because, you know, governmental contacts are important, but also it's very important when you have communication with non-governmental actors like media, business, religious organization, NGOs, think tanks, and also, you know, we communicated also with officials from Ministry of Foreign Affairs and from the Parliament. And you know, one thing when you are talking formally, like, you know, diplomats, the other thing when you meet people like me, with whom you may have very frank direct debate. They may ask us, you know, tough questions, which we are happy to answer. And we are putting tough questions, you know. We are more informal, more flexible. So that's the role of the civil society.
And why are you working with the Naumann Foundation, and why in Argentina?
Oh, look, okay, so in Ukraine, you know, we have partners among different German foundations. I personally wrote a book about Ukrainian left, you know, how they drift from communism to social democracy, which was published with the support of Ebert Foundation. It was long ago, in the year 2000, long ago. With Naumann Foundation, we are cooperating since the year 2004, Orange Revolution. So again, our long-time partners, we had projects, publications. So when I knew that I am part of this delegation, I wrote to Naumann office in Ukraine saying, guys, I am here. I will be in Latin America. I will be in Indonesia. And I must say that Naumann Foundation responded very quickly. I would praise it.
Okay.
I would praise it. Yeah. I'm not talking about others. So I'm praising you.
And why did you choose Argentina as a destination?
Well, in Latin America, we visited Brazil and Argentina, and I think it's understandable because two the most influential countries. And yeah, your voice is important. It's not only your voice, but many other countries in the region and also in the global south will listen to what Argentina is saying.
And we believe that here in Argentina we have a lot of Ukrainian influence. At least 1 million Argentinians have.
Oh, there are different figures. So from, well, I hear 300, 400. You know, it's difficult to.
Yeah,
it's
I
difficult
have heard
to count.
that 1 million of Argentinians have at least one grandfather or grandmother Ukrainian.
Yeah, it's difficult. So we need, because many, yeah, we know this, you know, when we have immigrants, you know, then they mix, some are assimilated, so on, so. But yes, the community here is one of the largest in the world. So the largest communities are in Canada and in the United States, but also in Brazil and Argentina. So they helped a lot during this trip, okay, because they know the situation, they have contacts, so they helped a lot.
And if you can summarize in only one word, one emotion, what are you feeling in doing that for your people?
Well, we have polls, so it's not, you know, just my views. We have polls. 90% of Ukrainians believe in victory.
Really?
Yes, believe in they are optimistic.
They are optimistic.
They are optimistic. So we believe in victory because the truth is on our side. We are fighting for freedom. And you know, when the nation is fighting for freedom and the whole nation is united, el pueblo unido
jamás será vencido.
Exactly. So
90% of the population.
Yes, of those polled.
Amazing. After a year of war.
After a year of war. That's surprising for me as well, because you know the sufferings are huge. So every third Ukrainian had to leave the house. Every third. So in total we have up to 14 million. 14 million.
14 million Ukrainians.
14 million had to leave the house. Half of them are refugees.
To 45 millions. You are 45, 50 millions.
It was less before the war.
45.
So it was about it was less. It was like 36.
36.
Yes, 36.
Okay.
So now it's even more than 1/3. So about half of them, maybe slightly more, are refugees, and out of these 14 million, and the others are internally displaced persons within Ukraine. So it's huge humanitarian catastrophe, definitely.
How do you describe, you know, the situation, the life of an ordinary Ukrainian? How to describe to the Argentinian people? The Argentinians are living a normal life. How do you describe a war situation?
I will show you something, but look, it's difficult. It's difficult in the cities which are close to front line, because Russians are bombarding everywhere, all the time. I mean, and they are also bombarding the whole Ukraine. So Putin, actually, what is important? Putin is fighting not military, because he's losing to Ukrainian army on the ground. What he is doing? He is bombarding Ukraine. I will show to you. Look.
The infrastructure,
I will.
Grid.
Okay, I will show to you. This was the day before yesterday. Red, because we received to our signals of air alarm. Look how many there was. It's the day before yesterday.
One day.
One day. Yeah, you see it.
And this is the alarms for bombing.
These alarms, yes, it means that Russian jets are in the air in Belarus, Russia, or Black Sea, and they may hit, we don't know what city. So air alarm throughout Ukraine.
And this is the same all over the country.
Yes. So look, when it's clear that they are going to bombard some specific area, it's not like this. But this means that the whole territory is under threat. So this was the day before yesterday. This was for yesterday. Today, luckily, only one.
Wow.
But the day is not ended. But hopefully, you
it's
know.
Incredible.
So and I may show you also here. I have the schedule of blackouts.
Yeah.
So we have regular blackouts because let me show it to you. Okay, here it is. Let me. Okay.
Blackouts.
So this is So this is results of the blackout. So you see, Ukraine is black. There is light around.
Yeah.
But Ukraine is in black.
Yeah. This is the Ukraine. This is Moldova.
Romania, right.
Turkey.
Yeah. So let me show you. So we even have the special.
It's like North Korea right now.
Don't compare us to North Korea.
Because
it's totally different.
No, I know, but when you watch North and South Korea,
but in North Korea, it's the result of the communism.
Exactly.
Okay.
I know that.
Here we are a developed country, we are a democratic country,
I know.
and this is a result of
war.
Because sometimes, you know, we may hear about Korean scenario for Ukraine.
To divide Korea.
Yeah.
We were talking about the blackouts.
Blackouts. So we have a regular, so-called regular blackouts, which means that we have a schedule of for every district.
Yeah.
You have, for example, in Kyiv there are different districts. So we have a schedule that 4 hours you don't have electricity, then probably you will not have electricity, then you have electricity for 2-3 hours, then again. So the whole day is divided. So, and you may look at this calendar and think when it would be able for you to take shower, to cook, to make tea, or to have online lectures at the university.
Yeah.
But the problem is that my students, they have different schedules.
So
it's complicated.
But look, are you teaching
yes,
right now?
Yes, online.
Yeah, online.
Yeah, online. But look, and my students are everywhere in the world, in Kiev, in the occupied territories, in Ukraine, outside Ukraine. So, but look, this is about regular blackouts. So if you live with a schedule, you can plan.
Yeah.
Okay, but bombing, you know,
yeah,
it could change the whole picture. But again, look, people are adapting, so it's difficult. But it's not as difficult as at front line or in the occupied territories, because there you live under just criminal terrorism.
Describe or to explain to the people the origin of this war. Is there any particular reason? The Russians blame the NATO for the origin of the war.
This is crazy.
Yeah, the Russians say that NATO originated the war. Do you believe on that? Is there any kind of reason on that argument or not?
Okay, I will present you with hard facts. Okay.
Okay.
So if we are talking about NATO, first of all, in 1994, and this is important to know for everyone, because this is a key factor, Ukraine gave up nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
And we had huge nuclear arsenal.
Voluntarily.
Exactly. We had huge nuclear, the third largest in the world.
See.
So we gave it up in exchange for territorial guarantees.
Yeah, I know that.
From United States,
Europe,
not Europe,
Russia.
United States, UK, and Russia. So, and in 2014, we were a non-bloc country without nuclear weapons. Ukrainians didn't want to become a NATO member. Okay. We had official non-bloc status, and Russia was a guarantor. And what Russia did? They attacked us.
Invaded.
So I will show you very telling graph. So red line is positive attitude of Ukrainians towards Russia and friendship with Russia and union with Russia. So Ukrainians were very positive. We were not anti-Russian.
1998, 2000.
Yeah. So look, you see. So Ukrainians were not anti-Russian at all.
Anti-Russians, no.
But then you see, total collapse.
Negative.
What is the year?
Yeah, the invasion.
2014. And negative. Invasion. Okay, so which means that we didn't want to join NATO. There is another.
Okay, so if there is no that NATO argument, why the Russians invaded you?
So to simplify, this is former colonial empire.
Okay.
Which is try to restore the colonial empire.
Okay.
So look, I have told you already the story how my university, which was older than Moscow University, was closed down in the Russian Empire because of Russification. So officially, in Russian Empire, Ukrainian language was banned from the public use. Ukraine was called officially Little Russia.
Little Russia.
And Ukrainians were called
Little Russians.
Yes.
Wow.
So that's exactly what Putin is saying right now, because he's saying that we do not exist as a separate nation.
Okay.
But let me finish.
Yes.
So he's saying that we are part of great Russian people. Okay. So he denies our existence. It's in the same way, if you imagine colonial empire is coming back to your country and is saying you do not exist.
Yeah.
As a nation, you do not exist.
As the Spanish Empire or something like this.
Yeah.
And why Putin is doing this now and not before? Putin is in power for many years, 20 years or more. Why he's doing that against the Ukraine right now?
So look, his aggression was step by step.
Okay.
He was testing what would be the reaction. First, he made aggression against Georgia, 2008. Then he wasn't rebuffed. He moved to Syria. He destroyed Aleppo. Then he annexed Crimea. Western reaction was quite weak. Then he started the war in Donbass. The West imposed sanctions, but limited. Yeah, light. And as normal people who live, in democratic countries, most countries, they believe that it's possible to have dialogue with Russia and to negotiate with Russia. Didn't happen. Look, my president, Zelensky, whom I criticize very often, so in 2019, or criticized, I would say, in 2019, when he was elected, he was very naive.
I know.
Totally unprofessional. So during campaign he said,
former actor.
Yeah. Look, there are different actors. Ronald Reagan, he was also, but he was prepared because he was governor of California.
Schwarzenegger was an actor as well.
Yes. But Zelensky wasn't prepared for that. He was a populist. And during the campaign he said, I will sit down with Putin and negotiate. And he sat down and negotiated and gave concessions, and Putin said no.
Yeah.
Putin didn't stop to shoot in Donbass. He continued more and more, okay, until the full-scale invasion, full-scale war. On the eve of this war, full-scale invasion, I was asked, what would happen? Will Putin attack and bombard Kiev? And my answer as political scientist was, it's not very probable, because it's too risky for Putin. If he starts, he will do that in Donbass, maybe in the south of Ukraine, but full-scale war.
Against a huge democracy is incredible.
No, and he started, he bombarded the whole Ukraine.
Incredible, and he tried to occupy the whole country.
Yes, and he thought that he would be able to seize Kiev very quickly. No.
What happened?
Why?
What happened there?
Ukrainians resisted.
Okay.
We were not waiting for what Zelensky is saying or what other countries are saying. We fought. People volunteered to take arms.
So why Putin committed this enormous mistake? He underestimated the Ukrainian spirit. They underestimated the Western reaction. He underestimated.
Yeah. So first of all, he has this. Look, Russians who are living in Russia, they do not understand other countries.
Okay.
They have imperial thinking. Okay. Ethnic Russians who are living in Ukraine, they understand.
Yeah, perfect.
They are part of Ukrainian society. Okay.
But they speak Russian.
Yeah, so they thought, if you speak Russian language, you would be happy to greet Russian soldiers with flowers.
No, it doesn't happen.
No,
it wasn't the case.
We greeted Russian soldiers with guns and bullets.
Wow.
Okay, so what happened? So Putin miscalculated. This was the greatest mistake.
Okay.
So he didn't understand that Ukrainians would resist. And by the way, we did sociological polls on the eve of aggression. So we asked Ukrainians, what will you do? And Ukrainians said we would fight. Putin didn't hear us, but what is interesting, many Western capitals also didn't hear us. They thought, Russia is large, strong, Ukrainians would lose. No. So if I may refer to Bible, this is a fight between David and Goliath. And we know who won.
And why the Ukraine and not, the Baltic states or Kazakhstan or other Soviet republics? Why the Ukraine? Because of the Black Sea access?
No, look, Putin actually made aggression in many fronts. In many, so in Georgia, Russians are still occupying part of Moldova. They promised to withdraw in 1999.
Yeah.
In the last century.
Transnistria.
Yes, they are still there. With Kazakhstan, they tried also. But if
the Baltic states are part of NATO, so.
Right. So, there is small Estonia, up to 2 million people. So, but Russians are not ready to attack it. Why? Because it's part of NATO. So, look, and this is the explanation why, people in Ukraine, in Finland, in Sweden, now they want to join NATO because Russia violated all the agreements.
It's so dangerous to be in the...
Exactly. So look, as I demonstrated to you, we wanted to have good relations with Russia.
Yeah.
Sweden and Finland were neutral for the
Yeah.
case. But what Putin is doing right now, he transformed, the views of...
Do you blame only Putin or the Russian people?
Well, this is a good question. Look, definitely there are people in Russia who are against the war and who tried to protest. They are in prison. Some Russians, they left the country, not just in search for better life, but they, for example, they scholars, they are actively, explaining the truth about Russian aggression. So there are such people. But most of Russians do not understand it. They believe Putin. And look, Russian society is ill because it's full of imperialistic propaganda, myths and stereotypes. Let me give you an example, my personal example. A lot of Ukrainians have relatives in Russia. I have cousin. So I called and asked him at the beginning of the war and told him, Sasha, his name, we are bombarded. And he asked...
By our cousins, so...
And he asked, who is bombarding you? Can you believe it?
Yeah, wow.
He didn't believe me. So he called my mother. My mother told there are explosions near my house. Because Russian propaganda is saying that Ukrainians are bombarding themselves.
Yeah. It's incredible.
It's incredible,
It's insane.
Yeah, look, Russian propaganda is saying that we have biological labs to produce, listen, combat flies.
Wow.
Combat pigeons.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Combat insects.
And Putin was creating this atmosphere, these beliefs, step by step. So it was his plan. It was a very long time plan. Putin has in mind this from the very beginning.
I think. Look, his idea is what Putin said when he started his presidency. Many years ago.
2000.
Yeah, so he said, what was the greatest political tragedy of the 20th century?
The collapse of the Soviet Union.
If you ask me or you, we would say World War II.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But for him, it's collapse of the Soviet Union. So Putin is very imperialistic.
Very imperialistic.
Yeah, and he's, he's increasing his power in Russia. He's closing all the islands of freedoms. He's closing it's step by step, right? The same way in foreign policy. He's touching.
I know.
He's checking what would be the reaction. And finally, his spendings for the army, huge spendings for the army. But Putin doesn't understand that we are fighting for freedom. So we are very motivated. Russian army
only paid.
Appeared to be corrupt.
Yeah.
What they are dying for? What?
Yeah.
For what purpose? Putin is sending young soldiers, Russians, to die in Ukraine.
Yeah, or the Wagner group,
Wagner, they are mercenaries.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you know that. I'm sure that they are, they are involving into the army criminals.
Yeah.
Do you know about?
Yeah,
you know about. So I think it's very important.
They open the prisons.
It's very important to show Russians made videos themselves. So it's not necessary to find witnesses of their crime.
Yeah.
They do it themselves and they put it on internet. How they are asking, people in the prison to join the army to fight in Ukraine.
Yeah.
So they're criminals.
Interchange for freedom.
For amnesty.
For amnesty.
So criminals, killers. So it's not surprising what
rapists.
Russians are doing in Ukraine. Huge war crimes.
Yeah, incredible. And what do you think that is going to happen with Putin? Is his power is growing or is going down in Russia?
I think, his power is diminishing So there are signs, you know, that some Russian oligarchs, they are trying to distance from Putin, some of them. But definitely it could be done by those, for example, oligarchs who are abroad, like Friedman, Abramovich, but
He's
those
a little
who are
bit against them right now.
yeah, you know, they care about their money. They understand that they are losing huge money, so they are saying, "Oh, we are against war. We can be mediators."
Okay.
Mediators. But definitely, people who are around Putin, even those who understand, I think more and more people, even around Putin, they understand that Putin is a danger for them and for their business. But they will not say it openly, definitely. They're afraid of Putin. And Putin, you know, if you disagree with Putin, he will be crushed. So,
Do you think that Putin believe himself as which character of Russian history? Peter the Great, Stalin?
yeah, he compares him with Peter the Great.
Peter the Great.
Yeah, but look, the result is totally different. Peter the Great was also, you know, not a pleasant character, to put it mildly.
Yeah,
but he tried to open the way to Europe. His idea was to make Russia more European.
So St. Petersburg.
Right. What Putin is doing, he is isolating Russia from Europe. Peter the First, you know, Peter the First was very bad for Ukraine because he liquidated Ukrainian autonomy.
Okay.
But for Russia, yes, he tried to Europeanize Russia. What Putin is doing is totally different. Regarding Stalin,
linking Russia with China, Iran, and
North Korea,
and isolated from Europe.
Yes. So regarding Stalin, you asked about Russian society. Look, Stalin is viewed positively by Russian people. Full stop.
Incredible. Yeah.
The person who killed
Millions.
lots of millions of his own compatriots, you know, is still viewed as a great leader.
Just to finish, how do you imagine the victory? You talk about Ukrainian victory, that you are going to defeat the Russians.
Okay,
How do
so
you imagine
for us the victory means liberation of our territory.
Okay.
Full stop. We are not going to invade Russia.
Okay.
We are not going to bombard Moscow and St. Petersburg. What Russians are doing in my
Kiev
country. No. It's for, look, it's important that Russia cease to be imperialistic, okay? Because otherwise it would be a threat to other nations. But it's for Russians and for people, ethnic minorities in Russia, many ethnic minorities who live in Russia, to decide. It's for themselves to decide. You know, we cannot impose it on them. We are not going to do that. Okay, so let them decide whom they would like to see. Tsar, dictator, democracy, what kind of Russia would it? It's for them to decide. So for us, it's important that our territories are liberated. And let me here bring Argentina. When Saddam Hussein occupied Kuwait, and the narrative was very similar to Putin. Kuwait, there was no Kuwait. It's part of Iraq, right?
Yeah.
So what Argentina did at that time? You joined the international coalition
frigates, to
liberate Kuwait. So now we are not asking for that. Okay, we are not asking for you to fight or other countries to fight in Ukraine. Give us weapons, we will fight ourselves.
Okay.
Give us weapons, impose sanctions, isolate Russia in every sphere, you know, so they would feel the pressure. It's not right when Ukrainians are dying and Russian tourists are enjoying life in Rio, here, you know, I saw them. So, we appreciate the support of Argentina, You know, Argentina voted for territorial integrity of Ukraine.
Yes.
Argentina
at the United
voted
Nations.
United Nations for suspension of Russia from the UN Human Rights Council, but words are not enough to persuade Putin to withdraw. One more thing, because this is a danger for the world. Demand from Putin to withdraw from Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station, because never ever in history nuclear power station was occupied by foreign minister. And Chernobyl is a child compared to Zaporizhzhia. What Russians are doing there on nuclear plant? Why they are there?
Yeah.
Only to blackmail the whole world.
Yeah,
So withdraw from there.
Thank you very much, Professor, and Slava Ukraina.
Героям слава, venceremos.
Sí, señor. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.